Dear friends and faithful believers, with hearts overflowing with hope and deep gratitude, we warmly welcome each and every one of you to our channel today. We gather here, united in faith and love, under the grace and mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ. May His eternal peace and boundless grace be with you now and always, filling your hearts with strength and courage while we face the challenges of our world together. Today, we turn our attention to an urgent and unfolding situation in the United States. At noon on September 27th, Vietnam time, the powerful Category 4 superstorm Helene made landfall on the coast of Florida, with staggering winds exceeding 209 kilometers per hour. This storm, one of the most destructive to strike the US this year, has caused widespread alarm and devastation. Communities are bracing for impact as the storm surges with unprecedented force. According to the US National Hurricane Center, Hurricane Helene hit the Big Bend region of Florida earlier today, September 27th. In its wake, the storm has left a path of destruction, with fierce winds causing power outages that have left approximately 180,000 homes and more than 1 million people without electricity. These numbers are expected to grow as the situation continues to evolve. By 5 p.m. local time, 4 a.m. in Vietnam, the hurricane was only 209 kilometers west of Tampa, a major city on the Florida coast. As the storm progresses, wind speeds continue to rise alarmingly, with forecasts suggesting Helene could intensify further, potentially reaching speeds of up to 290 kilometers per hour as it bears down on the northern territories of Florida. Even before its full force reached land, heavy rains began to pummel the Florida coastline, flooding communities and causing significant damage. The effects are being felt not only in Florida, but also in neighboring states like Georgia, the Carolinas, and parts of Tennessee, where severe weather warnings remain in place. In Florida, the situation is becoming increasingly dire. Many roads are submerged under deep floodwaters, leaving large parts of the state inaccessible. All major airports have been closed as a precautionary measure, and the National Hurricane Center has issued grave warnings about the potential for tsunamis, with some waves predicted to reach heights of up to 6.1 meters in certain areas along the coast. Tragically, the first fatality has been reported. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis confirmed that a death occurred just before the storm made landfall, though details about the victim are still forthcoming. This loss underscores the powerless nature of this natural disaster and the urgent need for everyone in the path of the storm to take precautions. Michael Brennan, director of the US National Hurricane Center, provided further grim news, warning that Florida's coastal areas are facing a worst-case scenario. Rising sea levels, driven by the powerful storm surge, are likely to destroy buildings, sweep away vehicles, and leave entire communities devastated. The situation is compounded by strong winds, torrential rains, and the continued threat of further storm intensification. In response to the escalating crisis, the Florida state government has declared a state of emergency and issued mandatory evacuation orders for all residents in the affected areas. The safety and well-being of the people remain the top priority. On September 24th, US President Joe Biden authorized federal assistance to support local Florida officials in their preparations for Hurricane Helene. This allows the US Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Emergency Management Agency (FEMA) to coordinate disaster relief efforts and provide vital aid to those in need. As we continue to monitor this catastrophic event, let us remember to keep the people of Florida and the surrounding regions in our prayers. Together, we can find hope and strength in the face of adversity, trusting that the grace of God will guide and protect us all during these difficult times. Stay safe, and may God's peace be with each of you. With its upgrade to Category 4, Hurricane Helene has emerged as one of the most powerful hurricanes to strike the United States in 2024, the storm is anticipated to deliver an immense amount of rainfall, exceeding 305 millimeters, affecting the entire state of Florida. Flooding and landslides are also expected as a consequence. Jamie Rome, Deputy Director of the U.S. National Hurricane Center, highlighted that approximately half of the fatalities during hurricanes are typically caused by flash floods. Meanwhile, Michael Brennan, Director of the U.S. National Hurricane Center, stated that the coastal regions of Florida will confront a dire situation as rising sea levels threaten to demolish buildings and carry vehicles inland. In response to the escalating threat, the state government has declared a state of emergency and mandated immediate evacuations to ensure the safety of residents. Prior to this, on September 24th, President Joe Biden requested federal assistance to aid local Florida officials in preparing for Hurricane Helene, enabling the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Emergency Management Agency (FEMA) to coordinate disaster relief efforts. As of 11 a.m. on September 27th, Vietnam time, Hurricane Helene has made landfall on the mainland of Florida and is forecasted to inflict significant damage on homes and infrastructure. As of the morning of September 27th, Hurricane Helene had made landfall in Florida and was expected to cause significant damage to homes and infrastructure. The U.S. National Hurricane Center (NHC) predicts that the storm will strike areas along Florida's Big Bend coast with severe intensity, resulting in storm surges reaching heights of up to 6 meters (20 feet) and creating destructive waves. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. People should remain in their shelters and avoid leaving until the dangerous conditions subside, warned the NHC an hour prior to the storm's landfall. The National Weather Service in Tallahassee, Florida, described Helene as a catastrophic weather event. The day before, the Florida government had declared a state of emergency in 61 out of the state's 67 counties and initiated evacuations in some directly affected areas. Residents in several coastal counties, including Pinellas, Hernando, Charlotte, Gulf, Manatee, and Sarasota, began evacuating on the evening of September 24th, with mandatory evacuations ordered for Franklin, Wakulla, and Taylor counties. According to Fox Weather, the storm's effects reached hundreds of kilometers from the landfall site, resulting in at least 2 fatalities in Georgia, a state significantly distant from Florida. Deanne Criswell, a representative from FEMA, cautioned that the storm could have substantial impacts extending from Florida to Tennessee. In addition to the widespread devastation along the Gulf Coast, Hurricane Helene has also unleashed powerful wind gusts that have impacted several areas, including northern Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. After making landfall, this formidable storm is anticipated to lose some of its initial intensity, but will slow down significantly, turning northward and making its way toward the Tennessee Valley. The airports in Florida's Tampa and Tallahassee have been closed as a precautionary measure, and several regions, particularly in St. Petersburg, downtown Tampa, Sarasota, Treasure Island, and various other cities along Florida's western coastline, are currently grappling with severe flooding. Hurricane Helene marks the 4th hurricane to strike the United States this year and has the potential to be the most powerful storm to hit the country in over a year. In addition to the immediate destruction in Florida, parts of the Gulf Coast remain inundated, and flooding has spread into North Carolina, leading to mudslides in mountainous regions. As Hurricane Helene moved inland after its initial impact on Florida's Gulf Coast, it caused catastrophic flash floods, destructive mudslides, and even tornadoes, with wind speeds reaching up to 140 miles per hour, 225 kilometers per hour. The devastation inflicted by this tropical storm has extended nearly 800 miles, 1,287 kilometers, stretching from South Florida all the way to the Appalachian Mountains as of September 27th. Tragically, preliminary reports indicate that at least 20 people have lost their lives due to the floods and landslides triggered by Helene. In the densely populated Tampa Bay area, neighborhoods were submerged under torrential rainfall, and in South Georgia, search and rescue teams faced immense challenges as they worked tirelessly to extract residents trapped in damaged buildings. In a particularly harrowing incident, approximately 60 individuals became stranded on the roof of Unicoi County Hospital in the small town of Irwin, Tennessee, necessitating urgent airlift operations by helicopter to ensure their safety. Meanwhile, more than 2 million residents in North Carolina found themselves under flood warnings as the storm continued its relentless advance. States of emergency were declared in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia to facilitate emergency response efforts and safeguard communities. On September 26th, Hurricane Helene shifted its course to the east, unexpectedly sparing a significant portion of Atlanta from the full force of the storm, which had originally been forecasted to make a direct impact on the city. However, the effects of the storm were still felt throughout various neighborhoods in Atlanta, where residents faced severe flooding that resulted in nearly 100,000 homes being left without electricity. This widespread power outage was only disrupted daily life, but also heightened the sense of vulnerability among the affected families. Furthermore, communities across the entire state of Georgia experienced extensive devastation as a result of Helene's rapid advance and overwhelming power. The hurricane's impact has been deemed the strongest storm to hit the United States in over a year, drawing comparisons to the destructive force of Typhoon Yagi in Asia that occurred earlier in September. In the face of such a challenging and devastating situation, we find ourselves drawn to seek solace in Jesus, asking for His strength and comfort to help us endure these trying times. Natural disasters like Hurricane Helene remind us of our fragility, but also of the unwavering love of God, which shines as our guiding light through the darkest moments. May God's protective hand be upon the families in distress, and may He bless the relief efforts, so that those affected can swiftly find peace and hope in their lives once more. As we reflect on this situation, I want to express my gratitude to each of you for taking the time to watch this video and embrace the message from God within it. It's vital to remember that you were created with a unique purpose and a divine destiny. And God is always present, offering unwavering support throughout every aspect of your life. The challenges and obstacles that come your way will never define you. Instead, they will serve as opportunities for growth and resilience, as long as you place your complete trust in God's infinite strength and wisdom. Amen. May God bless you abundantly.